Thank you. That first piece that we played for you was called Bravura, and it's a circus march. Not one of the faster circus marches, but one of the ones that kind of makes a grand entry as it's coming in. What we're going to play for you next is the first movement of a work called Pusta. And what it is a collection of dances that sound like gypsy dances. And so you'll get to hear that Romanian type of sound that follows through. In some places, you'll hear fingers flying like crazy. In other places, you'll have things a little bit more on the romantic side. But he keeps going back to the same themes in between. This is by Jan van der Roest. He's a Dutch composer writing Romanian music. The next piece we're going to play for you is, again, a circus piece like the first one was, but this one is a novelty piece called The Walking Frog, and it's by Carl L. King. And the way pieces like these were put together pretty much like the last dances that you heard, is you have blocks of sound that play melodies that counteract with each other. In other words, you don't have what you call a development that goes on in the music. It just keeps progressing from one kind of sound to another, and they sound in opposition to each other. And what you're going to hear in this is a piece that was written in the early days of ragtime, really at its height, where people were into it a great deal. And so it would also work its way into the circus music. So you're going to hear that syncopation, da 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 kind of thing that goes on through it. And this was sort of a non-authentic kind of rag that took place. One of the things that happened last week was I walked up and I was coming up the hill to conduct the band, and they played it completely through without me. I don't know which one of you started it, but they love playing it, and it's got a nice happy sound to it. So this is the Walking Frog. There was great apprehension as to whether the whistle would work or not. Every other time it didn't work, so we managed for the time that counted here, so that was good. The last piece that we're going to do for you is a piece of program music. And I have mixed feelings about program music. I think that it's a good way sometimes to bring a story out. On the other hand, I feel that music should stand by itself without having to sound like it's telling us an explicit story. So what I'm going to do is give you the basic outlines of this story for this piece. It's called The Light Eternal, by James Swearingen. And it was actually done here in the 1990s by Steve Shop, who was then the conductor of Band 4 when it was first written. So the last time this piece was performed here was by Band 4. And basically, the storyline is that there was a ship in the Second World War, the Dorchester, that was in the North Atlantic, and it got torpedoed. And after it got torpedoed, it sunk. And so what you have is the ship going along before the tragedy. You'll hear very much when things turn ugly. It becomes quite apparent. And then what you have is the tension that takes place as the ship is destroyed, and things get very quiet. And you have this reflective music that comes after that, music that basically is trying to deal with the tragedy that's happened. And then that transpires into music that is much more courageous and heroic. And so you have this have this ending that brings you on the same sort of high that you started with the piece. So this is The Light Eternal.